Welcome to Our Girl Relationships. On this channel, we discuss day-to-day problems people face in their lives. Let's start with the video.
I'm 28 female. My sister is 23 female and her fiance is 36 male. We have 4 more siblings. I'm in the middle. I work overseas and because of quarantine, I couldn't come back home and meet my family for 2 years. I came back home last week and we had a family reunion over this weekend. I knew the man my sister is dating and was not happy with her choice. We're both freelancer artists. Before I left, I worked with him before. The entire time we worked, he used to hit on me all the time. I refused him. I'm a lesbian in a closet, so now you see why. And through some mutual friends, I was told he can't commit to his life. He can't keep it in his pants. Simple as that. He was married before, and I believe my sister doesn't know about it. Since I only told this to one of my brothers, and they were all unaware as well. So the weekend came. I arrived earlier than most. Spent all the time with my nephew before dinner time. My oldest brother's wife asked me how I am and how work is. Sister-in-law then asked me some work-related stuff since she follows what I share on social media. My sister interrupted us and began talking about her wedding. We were never close to each other. Never felt the need to compete with her though. Hell, she's so much prettier than I am. Have to give it to her, lol. I spent most of my life burdened by my looks and avoided mirrors like plague. Turned the rest of the conversation to her wedding and plans. Showed us the location and the desserts they have decided on, and ordered at a local bakery. Without even asking me, she asked me what size I am currently wearing. I'm losing weight. And she told me she ordered me a bridesmaid's dress, size EU 10, which is medium in other countries, I think. Told her she should have asked me for my measurements, and I would have forwarded them to her. My hips are wide, which might be troublesome. Dress may not lay very nicely on me. She then responded by saying I could always lose weight before her wedding. This comment completely burned me. After 10 minutes, I excused myself to the bathroom so I could cry. It is not that easy. I've been dealing with my weight for my whole life. This morning, I woke up and decided I'm not attending it. Told my sister everything about how her comment made me feel. Never told her anything about her fiance and probably won't. She started telling me how it is not that bad. I'm too sensitive and I need to grow some balls. Told her I'm stealing her happiness on her upcoming special day and now I ought to destroy it. 2 of my oldest brothers are siding with me and I believe I'm in the right, not to go there. One of them might not be attending as well. Meanwhile, the rest of the family are refusing to speak to me and think I'm jealous since I've been single for so long. Not the a-hole. Fine, have it your way. I'm jealous and single. Still not putting myself on a diet because sis couldn't be bothered to ask my dress measurements first. Or just take the advantage of the fact that they're not talking to you and go on about your life. Anyone who doesn't drop out or explode over the bridezilla nonsense in their own due time deserves whatever sis subjects them to. Everyone sucks here. You say this about the comment she made, but you spent a lot of time talking about her choice in her husband, and that she interrupted your conversation about work things to talk about her wedding. Are you sure this is just about the one comment? You say he's a womanizer and she doesn't know, but you're content letting her get married to a man that will cheat on her. Is that loving and kind? Are you hoping that happens? Would you want your family not to tell you about your cheating partner? You say you're not close, you don't compete with her, but then say something comparing looks just to show us how much you don't compete? That makes it seem like you aren't being honest with yourself. Not going is kind of the nuclear option. If you want to create a rift that might not heal, this is a good way to do it. It makes people choose sides, and that might be the best option. I don't know enough to say. But if it is the best option, then this is way beyond one hurtful comment. Not the a-hole. She needs to grow up and learn not to touch certain subjects regardless of who she's talking to. Maybe she'll learn when her husband shows his colors. You don't support this union and your sister sounds like a bridezilla. She should get you a dress you can wear, not demand you fit into the dress she got for you. I'd stay away from that. For your sister's sake, you need to tell her what kind of a man she's marrying even if you have to enlist help from people who know what an a-hole he is. Next story. Me, 34 male, and my husband, 47 male, have 2 children, a girl and a boy, both 5 years old, via surrogacy. My husband was the sperm donor. If you haven't noticed, we're a gay couple. My mother-in-law was never my biggest fan. I don't know the reasons, but I can only assume that it has something to do with my decisions and my lifestyle. There was a time where she thought that I was taking advantage of her son and his money. My husband is older than me. For that reason, she assumed that I was taking advantage of him or trying to. Obviously, this was never true, and I think I've proved myself the last 7 years. My mother-in-law is a fan of children. She basically harasses her kids to have a baby if they're not parents, and if they already have babies, she demands more. My husband wasn't the exception, even if he's gay. We always wanted to have children because both of us are naturally family-oriented men, and we're planning to have more. I love my family and I love my husband, but mother-in-law makes me feel inadequate. She makes constant remarks about how my children are not biologically mine. At first, I didn't care because she's right, but I'm getting very annoyed lately. We were celebrating our kid's birthday. A mother-in-law's friend, I don't know who invited her, told me that my babies are beautiful, which I'm proud of. And she told me that my son acts exactly like me, and I laughed because it's true. And mother-in-law told her it's learned behavior because they're not his biological children. When she thought I wasn't listening, I ignored this because she is right. Both me and my husband work, and sometimes mother-in-law takes care of the babies. One day I came to pick them up and I listened to mother-in-law telling my daughter to tell daddy about something not important, and my daughter came to me and told me what mother-in-law asked her. And mother-in-law said, "No, not him, your daddy." My kids call me daddy and my husband papa. I felt attacked because she doesn't see me as their father. She sees me as a caregiver and not important, so I told her that I'm literally daddy. I'm literally the father, not the caregiver, not a nobody. I asked her to stop treating me as the caregiver because I'm the real dad too. She immediately apologized and told me that I overreacted. Did I? Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. I'm a lesbian, and it is exactly why I won't tell whose eggs will be used if one day I have kids with my wife. Being parents is way more than genetics. It's about love, rules, being there in the worst time, giving values, and praising your kids when they're doing the best they can. You are their papa, and you're more their papa than a lot of heterosexual men are to the kids they created. If mother-in-law insists, then tell her that she is the living proof that DNA doesn't automatically make you the right fit to be a parent. Don't let it go. If she continues, your kids will grow up with homophobia just like mixed kids grow up with racism. It is their own mental health which can be impacted. All LGBT future parents are with you. Not the a-hole. You didn't overreact in the slightest. You're not less than your husband, so she needs to stop treating you and teaching others that you are. You both are their parents. Love makes a family, not genetics. If she continues to say or act in any negative way, I'd put her in a timeout and tell her exactly why. If she gets dramatic, gaslights, etc., I'd stop her there and say no excuses. She is warned and it will stop. First offense, anywhere a month to 3 months. No one is allowed to say negative things to a child. She's being gross. Male continues to act poorly. There are subreddits and Jogo deal. Not the a-hole. You are much nicer than I ever would have been. Most definitely tell your husband what's been happening and about the latest interaction with mother-in-law. A united front is needed as it doesn't sound like she takes you seriously at all. Also, she absolutely doesn't need to be watching the kids unsupervised by either you or your husband. That is if y'all decide to even keep letting her see them. There's no telling what she's been trying to fill those babies' heads with. Next story. I want to ask, am I the a-hole to block my daughter's father until my daughter is able to comprehend a little better and be able to contact him on her own? My daughter, 5 female, and I, 27 female, have been living in different states from her father, 32 male, on and off for her whole life. He asks for her to come stay with him every summer. All of my reasons are personal reasons. I will pretty much start my rant here. Keep in mind, I'm not angry. I'm just really weighing in the outcomes in my mental. Okay, I have to let him come to Mississippi and pick her up every summer and take her back 14-hour drives, plus to Michigan. I do not get child support, only money from when I'm able to work. The agreement is he will pick her up and bring her back. Every summer, he has another reason he cannot bring her back. I'm forced to come out of pocket or borrow money to get my child back to me 4 years in a row. Throughout the year, I did not ask him for any help with money. The woman he is with has 2 children, so he knows what a child needs daily for the rest of the year. He sends $200 for her birthday once, and he sends her $100 for Christmas 2021. We struggle here and there, that's normal. My problem is that he feels entitled to get every summer to go have fun, while I can only make ends meet during the year. She has all the fun memories with him and thinks I'm mean and boring and all about school. I've never had a summer with her. Last year, I was financially able to have some fun with her. But instead of saving it for fun with her, when she came home, I had to take the money to rent a car and drive 14 hours myself. When I made it to Michigan to get her, he told me he will bring her after he takes her to the fair. She has been with him for 3 months, and I was on a limited time, being that the car was rented another day. It would be another $150 I did not have to spare. He brought her late. He has every excuse and apology for not being able to do for our child. While he posts on FB all the things he does on a daily basis for the 2 that are not his, and most recently paid for his significant other's Vegas trip. I'm happy for them, but I want to have fun memories with my daughter too. I feel like he's taking advantage of my kindness. Why should I have to ask for help with our kid when he knows firsthand what a child needs on a daily basis? Because he is taking care of another woman and both of her 2 kids. Common sense would tell you I could always use help. But all he asks is that I don't put him on child support because he can't afford it. I have only dealt with it this long because of I want my kid to have her dad in her life. I'm not bitter, but I think I'm being too nice at my own expense. You need to get a lawyer. You can have all the reasons in the world. We can all think your ex is a total a-hole, but you also suck for not going after him for child support and a formal custodial order. You are taking better care of him by not going after the support your daughter is owed. Think hard about this. Why are you not pushing for the support your daughter deserves? It's not like she can go out and earn her own money. I feel bad for your daughter. Mostly, she's got 2 parents who aren't getting their act together to give her a good life. This issue isn't going to go away. Time to go to court. Edited. Forgot judgment. Everyone sucks here except the kids. Not the a-hole. I was ready to say you're the a-hole because purposely keeping a child away from their other parent is usually done to punish the other parent and is just wrong all around. However, I get this. First of all, he is doing nothing but being a Disneyland dad. Take him to court to get child support. The fact that he has an obligation to help support her. Second, when getting that support order, you should see if it's possible to put into it how visitation will be financed. For example, my ex and I live in separate states. If he wants to see the kids, he has to pay for the transportation to make that visit. There is no way that these expenses should be on you. Also, I know extra medical expenses outside of the monthly insurance payment are split. So if my kid needs some dental fillings, my ex is supposed to pay half. If you don't want to jump right to taking him to court, start doing research about what the laws where you live say about these things or speak with a lawyer about this. Sometimes it doesn't matter how we feel about something if the laws say something else. Not the a-hole. Keep her home with you. If he has a problem, he will have to go through the courts. Once there, he'll have to pay child support and hopefully back pay what he hasn't already done to support her. If you still have receipts from these rentals, bring those with you. Everyone you've had to borrow money from needs to write a letter stating why they lent you money and that you being responsible has also paid them back. Save and screenshot everything. Dad's a deadbeat trying to pose as a good father. You're not the a-hole. You keep going into a financial hole to retrieve your daughter after every broken agreement. He's using your daughter as a weapon against you. Low to no contact with this a-hole. Next story. I, 25 male, started dating Alyssa, 25 female, 7 years ago. We were best friends growing up and we grew up on the same street. I've known her brother T, 23 male, for basically his whole life. T is marrying Jenny, who is Alyssa's best friend. Alyssa is her maid of honor. Last year, me and Alyssa broke up. Ever since, I've tried to avoid her and her family, but it hasn't been easy. Our parents are very close friends. Alyssa has respected my need for space from her and leaves me alone whenever our families are together. T's best man is a military friend who can't be at a lot of the wedding events, so he asked me to be his second best man. T and Jenny wanted a whole wedding party trip instead of bachelorette parties, which meant I had to sit down with Alyssa to plan it out. It was miserable, even though Alyssa seemed to be having a blast, saying it was like old times. We used to plan trips for our friends' families. At the resort, I learned Alyssa booked the rooms, girl, boy, until it came to us saying there was an uneven split, so we would just handle it. Which is true because there were 10 of us 4 true groomsmen, 4 bridesmaids. I asked to switch rooms with someone, but Alyssa refused, saying it's just 2 nights, so I slept on the floor. We planned the wedding party at my house. Alyssa's mom is an awesome woman, but is very hard-headed. She kept taking pictures of me, Alyssa, T, Jenny together at the wedding party and posting them on Facebook. I asked her to take them down because it made it seem like me and Alyssa were still dating. Her response was, "Oh, I didn't realize that was such a horrible thing for people to think." I never brought it up to T. T and Jenny didn't give me a +1, but gave everyone else one. When I asked why, they said they didn't want to make things awkward for Alyssa or cause any drama, and that my job was to make sure people had fun. Me, Alyssa, definitely were the life of the party and created a lot of fun at family events, like leading the games. They also wanted us to come up with a walkout dance to perform at the reception. Me and Alyssa made up a dance at a previous wedding and our families loved it. I refused, saying that I was talking to someone and didn't want her to see those videos. Me and T got into it, with him asking why I was being so stubborn. I said nobody was listening to how uncomfortable I was. He said he just wanted me to act how I used to and that I was the only one bringing a bad vibe. I told T that while I loved him, I felt uncomfortable doing this anymore and think it would be better if he found another groomsman. Alyssa, her mom, my mom have called me asking me not to do this, saying I'm making the wedding about myself. T considers me a brother and it's just a couple of days. I don't want to miss this wedding, but I also feel like nobody is listening to me. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. There's one part of this in particular I want to focus on. You don't get a +1 because it would make Alyssa feel awkward. This perfectly sums what's going on here. Everyone involved is expecting you to completely shut down your emotions and be a robot. You're expected to be a man and pretend you aren't deeply uncomfortable with being forced into all this vaguely relationship-y stuff with your ex-girlfriend. A woman you were with for the better part of a decade. And they're telling you that you have to swallow your feelings and not dare to set any boundaries because of a wedding. That's not how you treat somebody you care enough about to ask to be your best man. You're not asking for much here. You're being involved in planning and parties. All you're asking for is some boundaries to be respected. If that isn't something they're willing to do, then why do they even want you standing up there with them? Not the a-hole, but it might be best for you to drop out and back off for a little while. It sounds as if the group is still quite bonded and still want to enjoy time together. You don't sound like you're over the relationship, and it does make things awkward for you and them since the entire dynamic is different now. Never can be like it used to, as they suggested, and you cannot just pretend. Maybe you can do something else if they really need it that doesn't involve too much group work. Not the a-hole. You've been a really good sport, but all these people are insane to think it's okay to manipulate you and Alyssa into behaving as a mock couple, especially when you are at the beginning of a potential new relationship. I think it's weird that Alyssa is okay with this nonsense, and I think it's obnoxious that she booked lodging in a way that had you two sharing a room. I would have slammed on the brakes somewhere between that and the no +1 in order to make Alyssa comfortable. You aren't making this about you, but there's an awful lot of them making it about you and Alyssa.